Okay, what's up, people? Welcome back to another stream. I hope everyone is doing well as always. If you are enjoying the content and finding the streams useful, videos useful, analysis useful, please be sure to drop a like, smash the subscribe button, and of course, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat, and also you can find that in the description below. All trading updates there. We can discuss different ideas about what you're looking to trade with myself and other traders. So if you are interested in joining that, make sure you go check it out. And of course, you can find out a bit more about Elevating Traders. And of course, you can find some discount codes on your next purchase on Elevating Traders. So if you are interested, go check it out. But guys, welcome back to the stream. Happy Monday to everyone. Ben, what's up? Good morning. Good morning. Looking at GU and U longs, yeah, I am looking at some upside on those markets, more so pound USD, but we'll go through the USD pairs to start things off. What's up, Blessing? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Jay? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Will? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. Hope everyone had a good weekend as always. So yeah, we'll go through some USD markets and see what my bias is with that one, but it hasn't really changed since last week, really, because I'm still looking at shorts on the dollar. So to start things off, to end things off, actually, we ended off the week pretty bearish. We have started off a little bit bullish here, but all I'm looking at is this as retracement for the market to continue falling. So as we push up higher, I'm looking for price to find resistance and put that lower high in. I've talked a lot about that head and shoulder pattern. You got the left shoulder over here, you got the head. Let's make sure we can see that left shoulder there, the head over there. And now I'm looking for that right shoulder, that first lower high of that sequence. So essentially a pullback of this move. If I whip out the Fibonacci from the high to the low and make sure we can see that as well from the high to the low. You can see you've got the 50% there, 0.618 in that region, which also lines up pretty nicely with that resistance on the left there too. So I'm looking for price to come back into that area for that lower high. After that break of structure, lower high, I'm expecting the market to push down. And this is on the 4-hour chart on the dollar. That just reminds me, we don't have the watermark. There we go. So this is the DXY on the 4-hour chart. I'm expecting that move to the downside from that 106.8, 107 area. And of course, if I quickly go to the higher time frames, you can see we're still trading in that weekly, monthly resistance, really, and price is still doing a pretty good job at respecting that. In fact, last week's candle closes a really strong bearish engulfing candle, as we can see here. So that really does tell me that price is having a really tough time trying to break through 107. And since we're seeing a big shift in momentum, I would expect to see more downside this week at some point, and probably for the next 2 or 3 weeks, really, because I don't think, of course, anything can happen. Price could suddenly be very bullish. Maybe we get a big breakout, NFPs this Friday. Who knows? But the likelihood of us seeing some downside is a lot greater now. So I'm pretty bearish on USD going forward. So looking at that lower high, dropping to the 4-hour chart, looking at that retest, lower high, and then some shorts from that 107 area pretty much is the plan. Euro USD, I'm looking for something similar, but in the opposite direction. The only thing I don't like about Euro just yet is that we haven't broken through structure. It would be very nice if Euro USD could take up the highs. Pound USD has actually gone and done that, which is why I like pound a lot more. And I'll get into pound USD in a moment, but it would be nice if price could take up the highs there first to indicate to us, okay, structure is changing on the lower time frames, and now I'm expecting the higher lows to form and some more upside. But the analysis is pretty much the same on the higher time frames. With Euro, the fact that price is respecting such a key level on the weekly chart, doing very, very well. And we also touched on the monthly candle closure last week as well, how price is still holding on to a really strong level of monthly support as well. We left behind a really big wick to the downside, piercing through that zone, but we pull back up. So even from a monthly standpoint, the monthly candle is struggling to break through these prices, and we could be seeing price turn around. So I do think we probably will see a bullish December for Euro USD, unless of course we have a massive breakout. But I'm looking at a bounce here, and I'm looking at some upside there for Euro USD as well. So I want to see that break of structure. Then I'll look for pullbacks, and pretty much the same opportunity as we had in the dollar. Literally looking at the inverse of that and looking for some upside targets. I spoke about these areas That's some nice areas to target. Because if we are going to bounce from here, we probably will see a pretty big move, but at least come back to retest some of these lows. 1.07, 1.076 makes a lot of sense to me. So Euro USD expecting a bounce higher this week. Pound USD expecting another bounce higher as well. This one we've actually had a break of structure, so I actually really like the price action with pound a lot. So a lot much more. Doesn't make any sense. Much more than Euro USD because we have that break of structure, which means that this bearish structure is now kind of ended, invalidated, and now we're expecting higher lows to form. So again, looking at that opportunity on the dollar, literally the inverse of that is literally what we're seeing here for pound. Looking at pullback to this area, a higher low, and then looking at the continuation to the upside. And of course, as I said on my weekly analysis, if you haven't checked it out, feel free to go do so. I'm looking for targeting this area this week around 1.284. You might see some downside from there. I think that's a healthy target for a trade, especially if we can get some entries down here. Should be looking at comfortably, 1 to 2s, 1 to 3s, 1 to 4s, and maybe beyond that, depending on your entry and your stop loss. But looking at something like this week for pound USD, back into that level. And also, it does look like from a monthly perspective, we might be putting another higher low in because the market has been slowly pushing to the upside with lower time frames. We did get the break through the trend line, but by the end of the month, we actually pulled back and left behind a pretty big wick there. So it looks like the market's still keeping up with those higher lows, and possibly we might see another bullish month as well for pound USD to the upside. So I'm looking at a lot of upside now for pound. The market's still very, very stretched to the downside, as you can see. Now we've got that bit of an up move breaking structure, looking at the higher low to that, and looking at some upside back into 1.285. Now looking at dollar CAD. Dollar CAD's also another one I like to the downside. It hasn't broken through structure yet, but looking at the monthly candle closure, looking at the weekly candle closure last week as well, I'm not convinced about the break to the upside. Price is still trading that level of resistance. It was a slight candle closure to the upside, very similar to what we have with the DXY the past weekly candle closure, which was very weak to the upside, so I wasn't convinced. Same here with the monthly candle. Big wick to the upside, very small candle closure. I wouldn't be too surprised if this month's candle, does close bearish here and we start trading back underneath that level, and that just becomes a big fake out. So overall, not convinced by the break. And of course, if I drop to the weekly chart as well, not convinced by the break as well. You can see the last week's candle, big wick to the upside, pull back down. Not really what you want to be seeing if price is going to break through such a significant level. You want to see forceful candles, strong closures, and not really leaving behind big wicks, which is what we're doing. So I'm anticipating to see some downside now for dollar and this to be a big fake out and us to roll over, especially if USD is going to fall from 107. There's a good chance we're going to see dollar CAD follow suit as well. But the key thing I want to see, though, before I do get into any shorts and anticipate that to be a big fake out, is, of course, a break of the structure, because market is still bullish on the 4-hour chart, which is the chart I'm looking to trade on. You got the low there, you got the high there, you got the higher low, you got the higher high. So the market is still evidently slowly pushing to the upside. So I need price to invalidate that, break the lows, tell me that, okay, this structure is no mass, and we're probably going to see some lower highs after that. And that's exactly where I want to be looking for my shorts and take some retests. Maybe the retest of that low. It really depends on the break and the pullback where I find the entries. And of course, I'll keep you guys updated as price action develops. But something like that is basically what I'm looking for. Lower highs and a push down. I remember Ben was mentioning this last week as well. And yeah, if you do get that break of structure, I'm pretty bearish on dollar CAD. So dollar CAD shorts, pound USD buys look good. Euro, if it can break structure and pull back, that will look good as well. Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, not as much of a fan of these ones as pound, dollar CAD, and euro. I still said with Aussie dollar, I like the buys from 0.64, but we're not quite trading there yet. So I'm not really interested in Aussie dollar. Then, of course, once we do get to that zone, I need price to start breaking structure, start giving some higher lows before I can find some entries. So that has quite a way to develop. So I'm not as focused with Aussie dollar this week, but that's still a phenomenal level to buy from. Really strong level of support. If we get there again, I do see a likely chance of us bouncing to the upside, still with the market being so stretched as well. So I'm looking at a bit of a bounce there for Aussie dollar. possibly back to the highs if it's going to continue to swing, up and down as the range continues. There's a good chance we could push all the way back to 0.69, but for now, at least looking at a bounce at 0.64. Ends the USD, similar situation as well. This one's come back into a nice low. It has bounced from there. Looks like price is just about to break through some structure now in the 4-hour chart. Hasn't quite done it. It's just left a bunch of wicks there to the upside, so not the convincing break of structure I'm looking for, but it looks like it's getting there. Maybe we might see a push to the upside today, break the highs, and then we might look to continue that to the upside. But again, New Zealand dollar market that's very stretched, come back to a big level, essentially doing what I want Aussie dollar to do, come a little bit lower, test a big level, and now I'm expecting us to have a bit of a bounce here to the upside, and possibly with New Zealand dollar, could be a massive swing back to the highs there potentially. And if we're going to continue this ranging market, exact same with Aussie dollar, there's a good chance we could push all the way back to the highs up there as well. So there is a lot of upside for the USD pairs, especially if dollar's going to have a big seller from the high. I wouldn't be surprised if you do see big moves like this. Again, not a pair that I'm highly interested with. With pound USD looks a little bit better to me. Euro, if that can break structure, and dollar CAD looks really good as well. So that's kind of where my focus is. Then in terms of gold and silver, gold, we've had some downside with this one. It hasn't been totally clear, to be honest. Gold's not really a market which I'm looking to trade myself. We had that big break of structure there. The market's pulled back, did take out some highs in the 4-hour chart, and now we're just a little bit in limbo here. Price is respecting support pretty well. Nice bounce there last week. Not convinced by the bounce, I must admit. It did come into that area, nice wicks to the downside, but have been very, very corrective in this way up. So it's not like we've seen impressive momentum pushing to the upside, or at least not yet. So I'm not quite convinced. If anything, this looks like a correction for possibly a continuation as well. So I'm not quite convinced with the buys at the moment with gold. I'm still overall bullish on gold, but not seeing a clean opportunity to find some buys. And then last week, we were also talking about some nice sells as we approach this area here as well. The market was to push maybe up one more time. There could be some nice shorts there this week, at least for a push back down into the low, and then we can go from there. Maybe we get the breakout, maybe price bounces. I think the shorts there look clean, a lot of momentum, corrective behavior. There's probably a good chance of us seeing a nice reaction, and it lines up with that high there as well on the left, around 26.75, 26.80. So I think that's a nice place to look to short gold if you are interested in gold downside. But upside, not seeing a clean opportunity just yet. And in terms of silver, silver's pretty clear to me in terms of what I want to do in the plan. Silver, again, another one which I'm overall still pretty bullish, looking for upside. This is our massive swing low down there. And then, of course, you've got your swing high all the way up there. I'm looking at essentially this is a pullback of that move. So if that is the case, then I'm looking for price to start to break structure again to the upside and start to see some higher highs and higher lows. So that's essentially what I'm looking for silver. And then the plan is to try and hop on the back of these buys here to try and take it back to the high at 34.8, 35 roughly. That really much is the plan. So silver, I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the market to start showing evidence. I mean, you can look for some more aggressive buys in terms of trying to catch the low down here. That's a possibility, bit more an aggressive trade because market hasn't really got going yet, but you're looking at a better risk reward if it does play out. You're looking for the safe opportunities. You're waiting for price to start to develop some higher highs and higher lows. And what would be a really nice prospect is if the market can break above the resistance there and we see a high low forming. That'd be a really nice trade back to the high. But overall, I'm just kind of waiting for silver to ripen up, and hopefully you can find some buys in the pullbacks later on. But yeah, very bullish on silver and gold. Just don't really have an opportunity for gold yet, and silver don't have an opportunity there yet either, but I can see what might be on its way, so I have to be patient for that. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Yeah, well, if you help, we just went through gold. If you're looking for a gold sell, as I said, I'll wait for price to push. If you're in a gold sell, nice, if that's what you meant. If you're looking to sell gold, then I would wait for price to push back to the high there, 2680. I think that's a nice place for a short. Lines up the resistance down the left there, coming to a nice area of supply. Really strong push to the downside last week, and overall seeing very corrective behavior on the way up, which tells me that we're not seeing much force on the push up. If gold was just going to push up and just continue back to all-time highs, I would be seeing more aggressive buying pressure by now. And maybe that just hasn't happened yet. Maybe NFP is going to happen on Friday, and we see a massive force pushing up. And if that's the case, we'll relook at things. But for now, price looks very corrective still. So I think shorts around 2670, 2680 look really, really good to take some downside. If you're already going to sell, nice, just manage to trade accordingly. But in terms of shorts, that's kind of where I would be interested in if I was looking to short gold. It's a place where it makes a lot of sense. Still not quite convinced though. Will just enter dollar yen. Okay, still holding euro yen. Okay, still attacking the yen pairs. Yeah, I think yen pairs still look really good. Starting to like the USD pairs a lot more. So there could be some opportunities maybe later this week with some of them, especially pound USD. But I think the yen pairs still have a lot of opportunity. What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Yes, we will take a look at dollar yen and euro yen. I'm still holding my my CAD yen position. I'm hoping we can find some entries this week to add to that trade, but I'm afraid I just got a feeling that the price will just be too bearish, and we'll probably just see the yen pairs have some corrections, because I don't think they'll just move in one straight line and just sell off completely, but it's probably the lower time frame corrections which are the more probable opportunities to find some pullbacks here. Because for dollar yen, if I'm going to get into a trade for dollar yen, for example, I'm looking at kind of these areas to short from. We just had a really big break of structure, and now I'm looking at a pullback from the high to the low. That's where I kind of got my 50%. That's where I got my 0.618. Those are the areas where I typically normally take most of my trades for pullbacks anyway. So that's kind of the areas which I'll be looking to operate in and get some entries. And of course, you've got some nice confluence there. The retest of that low, trying to find that next lower high. 1, 2 over there. If that's the low, great. And 3 somewhere around there as well. So that really is the plan there with dollar yen. But at the moment, because there's just so much momentum, as I said, I don't think price will have that big a pullback. It might just kind of continue to fall like this. At some point, we will get the bigger pullback, because if my analysis serves me correctly, I'm expecting a push all the way to 140 and probably beyond that as well. So there's a lot of pips for price to fulfill there. So we will see a bigger pullback at some point. Will it happen this week? I don't know. Will price keep falling this week? I don't know. All I do know is that I'm very bearish, and I'm just going to continue to look to attack to the downside really with these yen pairs. So in terms of my analysis, this is where I'll be looking to find some entries. I did say on my weekly analysis here, this could be a nice place for a trade as well. Nice area of supply. We stopped there for a few hours. Big drop to the downside from that 4-hour candle. That looks like a nice place to short as well. So I would keep an eye on 151.5. But yeah, overall, dollar yen still looking very bearish. I do think we can see a lot lower prices. And I do think we can eventually go and hit 140, which is a long, long way away. But I really like the structure with dollar yen, because we've broken through the lows here on the left very, very aggressively. It's not a corrective break. I always speak about upon that. If we do it aggressively, it's always a nice sign that the break of structure is probably here to stay. And then, as you can see, after we got that break of structure, before we got the break of structure, we broke through this ascending channel as well. So really nice force, breaking the trend line, breaking structure. And now it's left behind us some nice areas which you can go fill, retest, and continue. But it's up to dollar yen if it wants to have that deep pullback. You can see in the weekly chart, really aggressive bearish week candle closure as well. So even from a weekly perspective, momentum's changed, and we're likely going to see another bearish close this week as well with all that momentum. It's just about how far will that upper wick be. Will it has the upper wick already formed, and is price going to now flip bearish and continue, or are we going to have a deeper upper wick and then push down? It's again very, very difficult to say these things in confidence. It really is, just waiting to see what the market gives you. But I do think there's a good chance we probably will push bearish this week at some point. So yeah, dollar yen looking very good to the downside. Euro yen looks good as well. I remember you said you were shorts, Will, for that one last week. So your entry's probably way up now as price keeps slowly trickling to the downside as well. Euro yen, another pair, which I said shorts look really good. I just don't see the pullback I'm after coming to fruition. You can see the lower time frame structure the market is doing. In fact, if I drop to the hourly chart, probably see it better. So you can see the lower lows and the lower highs the market is making. Some really nice structure to follow here. Low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low. So again, looking for another lower high for another push. I'm looking for a bigger pullback for this one as well. I like this area here for a short. Just not too sure if we'll see that pullback there. Again, lines up pretty well for 0.618. This would be a nice place for some entries. But again, not too sure we'll see those bigger pullbacks this week. It's probably just going to be the more intraday pullbacks there. So if you're on the lower time frames, find some healthy pullbacks. I think there could be some really nice setups, and especially setups that just keep pushing as well. This is where you can really open up that risk reward, because high time frames is a lot of momentum. You can see in the weekly chart here, strong close to the downside. So a good chance we'll probably see another, not necessarily strong close, but at least another bearish week probably for Euro yen there as well. So if you're shorting early in the week as well, could really hold that till maybe Thursday, Friday, in terms of a nice short there. And this is where I'm expecting Euro yen to end up. 155, 154. I do think eventually we'll break through this and see lower lows past this, but one step at a time. No need to commit past that just yet. Still another 500 pips at least back to that low there. If I measure that from current price, well, 300 pips to the level there, 500 pips about to that wick low. So there's still a lot of pips to take advantage of. It's just, can the market give the entries we're looking for? But yeah, Euro yen slowly falling to the downside. The markets are a little bit stretched now, so maybe we do get the bigger pullback. I'll wait and see. CAD yen, I'm still holding on to that position. That's the only trade I'm in currently at the moment, from that candle over there. Looking good so far. Still seeing the lower lows and lower highs. That's the key thing with this one. Again, I still do like the bigger pullback, and that's still really what I'm after, really. For some entries, I'm still looking for a push back into this area. Will we see that bigger pullback? Again, difficult question to answer, but I truly do expect us to get back to these lows here. So 103 is kind of where I'm looking to get the market back down to. I'll be trading stops pretty loosely behind, not trying to be too aggressive with the trade, because momentum's really shifted. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see, look how that weekly candle closed. That's a very, very aggressive weekly candle closure last week. So the chance of this week closing bearish, or the chance we of just generally seeing some downside beyond this point, is very, very high. There's a chance we could see a bullish close this week, and then maybe next week we open up and see the continuation. So it doesn't have to be straight away we see another bearish closure, but there's a good chance we continue to fall at some point. So that's why I want to be loose, because there's a good chance we do keep falling here. And that's the whole idea of trading stops. Want to maximize the upside, or in this case, the downside. So yeah, for dollar yen, I would still be looking at the retest of this low, which is just above 109, just below 109.5. If I can get some retest of that area, I'll be very, very happy. Looking for some entries. As you can see, lines up with the 0.5, 0.618 in that area there. So that's really where I'm comfortable. Take positions, look for entry signals, and hopefully we can find some trades this week at that level and some additional entries. But it really does depend on yen this week, because easily yen can keep up that strength, keep falling. If I quickly take a look at the old yen basket, last time I had a look at that, it was flying pretty high. Yeah, still looking very bullish. So last week I said it would be nice for a retest of 64, but we can see That did not happen at all, and yeah, price is looking pretty bullish right now. So yeah, it looks like price is on its way up now, or at least back to around 26,800. Again, nothing is absolute. You might still sell off here, still put another lower high, and that's still a possibility. But yeah, everything is looking pretty strong, and the weekly candle closures look very strong too. So yeah, with the yen basket as well, I think that'll probably keep pushing. Like I said, at least the 6,800, which is this area here. That's kind of where I'm expecting probably the yen pairs to end up this week, or in the next couple of weeks at least. So do you think there's more upside? Maybe there is a bit of a pullback to be had. If we can pull back and retest this area here, that'll probably give me the pullbacks I'm after on dollar yen, on CAD yen, on pretty much every yen pair I'm looking at, and get the trades I'm after. But at the moment, still looking very comfortably bullish, and we're probably going to keep pushing to the upside from that. So we'll see if we can get pushed to 6,400. Let me see, has the Japanese index broke the low yet? No, we haven't. Actually looking a little bit bullish here. I said last week, if price can break 37,750, that would probably look very bearish for the JP225, and probably very bullish for the yen, and of course very bearish for the yen pairs. So that's the break I'm still looking for. If we can break that low, that's probably going to take us back down to this low here, and that's going to really open up the door to yen downside, yen pairs downside. So that's what I'll be looking at. If we go through intimidate, yeah, I mean the yen pairs can be excuse me, a bit daunting because they're very fast paced and they can move very quickly, but at the same time, it's just another market, it's just another pair, it's just another currency pair to look at. And the key thing is just building up experience, building up time with those yen pairs. And once you do build up time, it's just another market to trade. Of course, manage your risk. As long as you manage your risk, nothing really should fear you too much. Of course, the market's a speculative place. Things can go wrong, of course. But as long as you're managing your risk, no matter what you're doing, you're relatively safe. And that should always be your main control. And then once you manage your risk, you can spend some time with the pair, and you eventually get comfortable. If you're trading Euro USD, Pound USD, USD pairs, you can very much trade the yen pairs. It's just a little bit more fast paced. So yeah, I understand why it would be a little bit daunting, but in my shoes right now, because I've been trading them for a very long time, I just look at them as another currency pair to trade, really. So yeah, once you spend some time with them, you learn to love them. But also respect them though, because yeah, if you're not managing risks, they can punish you 100%. But this is another yen pair with a pretty strong close to the downside. Yeah, very, very strong close in the weekly chart. So momentum is definitely with the bears across the board. Now it's just about finding those pullbacks. And Aussie yen is actually another yen pair, which I do like. This was the weekly bonus pair on the weekend. Really nice push to the downside. I'm looking at a lower high, and for the market to keep pushing down from this, I said I would love a retest of that low. That's kind of where I'm looking to take shorts from. Difficult to see if we can get the pullback there. It's the same situation as I just spoke about, but that's really where I want to get involved with. You can see we've got the 50, 0.618 in those areas. Fantastic places where we could retrace to. I just want to see if we can get some opportunities in those areas, really. But I've got a feeling we might just kind of fall out of the sky. But it's just the market's too oversold for me to look for any entries in that level. I need price to push back up first. So if Aussie yen does retrace, I'll keep an eye. All I'm looking at is just to find one more trade in the yen pair, because I've got the CAD yen. But if I can find one more, that'd be great. If it happens on CAD yen and I get additional entries, that's great. If it happens on Aussie yen, not too bothered as well. They all look like very good opportunities. But one pair which I'm really liking, which is not a yen pair, is pound CAD. I'm liking the shorts in pound CAD. It looks like we've topped out really nice height around 1.81. We broke a shot to the downside. We broke through that long-standing trend line as well. So to me, it looks like pound CAD could be ready for a pretty big move to the downside. We've had a pretty sharp retracement last week, which was a little bit not great. I like to see more corrective pullbacks. In fact, it's becoming a little bit more corrective now, which is why I'm liking it a little bit more. But last week we had a really strong push to the upside, and that's not really how I want my pullbacks to look. I want to be very corrective. More so the corrective, the better, really. But this one had a pretty strong start, but it has become a bit more corrective, and I do like what and how it's moving now. This is kind of the area which I'm looking at for some shorts. So I'm looking at a bit more upside as we approach this area. But really, I'm looking for some strong rejections, maybe a double top, and a nice bearish engulfing candle to trigger me into the trade. Again, it's a healthy pullback as well. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, you can see we have pulled back right into the 0. Well, we've hit 0.5, but if you do get to my area, it will push into the 0.618 roughly. So that's where I'm looking to see if I can find some entries. Something like this, stops above the high. And then, of course, looking for a push to the low here. Hopefully, you should get at least a 1 to 2, preferably maybe a 1 to 3. Depends on the entry, of course. But I do think we can go a lot further than that as well. So that's really why I like the trade too, because similar to the yen pairs, which I'm looking to trail. All right, take care, Will. Well, take care for the meanwhile you're switching location. But yeah, with pound CAD, I do think it's an opportunity which, again, trading stops can work very, very well, because if this trend is done and we start to form a bit of a bearish trend, then a situation where we could be trading stops and just seeing price fall in our favor could be the situation in which occurs here with pound CAD. It's not like a pair which is chopping around between support and resistance like some of the USD pairs, which is why it hasn't been so effective to trail stops and more effective just to take profit at the highs and lows of resistance and support. But in this situation, of course, I would look to lock in gains as we do approach the low here if I do get into the trade. But it will be a situation where I do leave positions to run, trail stops. I do think longer term we can at least come back to this area, 1.732, 1.73 pretty much on the dot. And maybe further as well. So yeah, overall pound CAD I really do like. It's a pair which I'll keep a close eye on. And it's actually a pair which I probably will realistically probably find a trade this week, because yeah, the yen pairs might not give me that that pullback I'm after, but pound CAD, the pullback's in full flow, almost coming back to retest my area, looking for an entry signal pretty soon. EuroCAD is also another one, but I prefer pound CAD, so I just want to keep my eggs in that basket for now. It's a similar opportunity with EuroCAD, and of course, EuroCAD, pound CAD, very, very similar trades. Sarivastava. Yep, I'm just about to take a look at EuroCAD head and shoulders on the 4-hour chart. Yeah, I'm just about to take a look at head and shoulder at EuroCAD. I think I see the head and shoulder you're referring to, which is the left shoulder there, the massive head over there, of course, potentially a right shoulder forming. Let me know if that's what you're looking at, but I would guess so. But yeah, I'm looking at a similar trade idea. As I said, I think pound CAD looks a little bit better, ticks my boxes a little bit better, and I say that because if I zoom out and look at the price action of EuroCAD, it's a lot more flat, a lot more range bound. Prices essentially come back to the high, fell at the highs of the range. Of course, we've got the low of the range down at these prices here. So effectively, EuroCAD, has just been ranging between the high and the low, whereas pound CAD's actually had a bit of a trend this week. It's actually trended to the upside. Well, not this week. I mean, in general, pound CAD has been trending to the upside for a while now, actually. And looks like that trend might be ending. We might be seeing a bit of a bearish trend now. So the conditions are a bit more trend following friendly, whereas EuroCAD is just a bit more corrective. So because of that reason, I'd rather find some entries on pound CAD. But equally so, EuroCAD looks good. And of course, there's similar pairs too. So pound CAD does go for the dip I'm looking for. EuroCAD most likely will do the same. And there's, of course, a really strong level up here, which would be nice if market can come back and retest. I do think we probably will. Doesn't look like the market's quite ready to sell off yet, so I think we could see at least one more push higher up, and that will line up pretty well with your head and shoulder pattern down the left around 1.49. And that's could be where you're looking for your entries, stops above the high as well. And again, could be onto a really nice winner. If you can get it back down to the lows there, you're looking at a pretty comfortable risk to reward there. So yeah, overall EuroCAD looking pretty good. I like pound CAD a little bit more, but it's pretty much the same trade really. Just the price action is a little bit flatter, so I'll focus on pound CAD. But yeah, 1.49, that's a great place to find some entries. And again, whip out the fib from the high to the low. I'm pretty sure we do get, yeah, we get into the 0.618 area. So really nice, comfortable territories where the market is like to react and see some downside. So yeah, I do think EuroCAD is a nice opportunity to look for. Hey, what's up, Pavinator? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. Happy Monday, right back at you. Aussie dollar. Okay, not far from your entry point. Okay, it is slowly getting there. Looking to buy 6.3, 6.38. Okay, let me have a look. I'll go have a look, then I'll go through some for the rest of the yen pairs. Because I missed a few there, but we'll get through them. So yeah, Aussie dollar, you said you're looking to buy from 0.6, 6.3, 6.38. 6.3, 6.38. So that's just more or less around the low here. So yeah, that's pretty much the level I've marked out there. Yeah, I mean, still a bit away to be honest, but it's getting there. I mean, it's looking bearish today, so that's a great start. But yeah, still need to see a bit more downside. But naturally, that's a nice area to be looking to long. A lot of evidence of price holding this support, two previous times and doing very, very well from those two areas. So there's a good chance we'll probably see buyers step into the market. Sellers who've been holding onto positions up here. This is an area where you look to try and take some of those gains. If not all of them, really depends what you're looking for, but it will be an area where sellers exit, buyers come into the market. I do think we can see a bit of a bounce. I'll be looking for price to get there, some break of structures. Then I'll be looking for a higher low to form and a push up. But in terms of the location area, I think it makes a lot of sense for some buys for Aussie dollar, especially if USD is going to see some downside from where it is on the DXY. So yeah, I do like that trade. Still have to be a bit more patient, wait for price to get there. It's not too far away. Hopefully, maybe this week we might get there. Who knows? But I think it's still a nice opportunity to keep an eye out for. Okay, so I'll go through some more of the yen pairs. So as I said, CAD yen, I'm currently short, looking for additional entries. We went through Aussie yen. I'll quickly go through New Zealand yen. So yeah, New Zealand yen, again, the key thing I want to point out with the yen pair is just how aggressively we closed last week. We closed very, very aggressively. On not all of them, but most of them closed really nicely to the downside, particularly on the weekly chart. Monthly chart has some nice closes as well. So as you can see, momentum is definitely shifting. I think this one had a nice monthly close. Yeah, really nice monthly close. The possibility of us going and filling these wicks are pretty high now. Markets tried to push on. A lot of failed attempts to push to the upside there, just leaving behind more wicks. And now I had a pretty strong monthly close there. So I do see some more downside now for New Zealand yen. And of course, if that is the case, if we are going to see that drop, then I do expect us to end up right back at these lows, which is all the way down at 85.84. So for New Zealand yen, it's just about finding the pullbacks as well. It's the same predicament as the other yen pairs. You've had a really nice drop. Will we see the pullback? It's yet to be seen, but hopefully we can do in terms of the area which I'm looking to find some trades from. Again, I like this low here. Whip out Fibonacci from that high over there to that low. Just about hits the 0.5 as we come into that area. So that's naturally where I want to look for some entries, look for some lower highs, double tops, bearish engulfing candles, essentially what I'll be looking for, and then taking that back to the low, and hopefully a lot further as well. Back to that area will be the real target for the trade. But definitely look to at least lock in some gains. as we do push into that low. So yeah, for me, I do think New Zealand yen looks like a really nice short. I do think we can really see a lot of downsides, really nice momentum on both the weekly and the daily charts as well. So we probably are going to see price really push on. So hopefully we can see some opportunities this week for New Zealand yen. If I go take a look at pound yen as well, I think that's a nice one to keep an eye out for. Seems a nice downside. Looks like, again, from a monthly standpoint, looks like we're probably seeing price fail to break through the high here. So if that's the case there, I do think price can probably take off. Well, take off normally means upside. I mean, take off, the opposite of taking off, falling. In terms of the price action on the monthly chart, the fact that we just about pinched the high there, I do think now we're going to come and see price break underneath. Exact same what happened back over here in 2008. Really nice push to the upside. Price took out the high, pinched it, bit of a pullback, massive sell-off. I do think we're in the same predicament again. So dropping down to the weekly chart, you can see momentum picking up there as well. This to me looks like it's going to be the first lower high in this bearish sequence. You've got the push there, the low, the lower high. Now looking for price to come right back down into the lows there again. Drop into the daily chart. Momentum sustains as well. Of course, we do have some highs here to contend with on the left, but I do think if we can see a bit of a pullback, find some shorts for that, should be a nice opportunity to take a trade. So drop down to the 4-hour chart. Again, this is our swing low, swing high, sorry. So I would love to see a pullback of that. And again, in terms of a healthy pullback, this is the low I would be looking to take some trades at, 194, around that area there. So it's the same situation really with all the yen pairs, really looking for the pullbacks, just seeing which one's going to be healthy, which one's going to be a good pullback, and then hopefully I can find some opportunities to take those lower. All right, take care, Ben. Have a good one, my man. We'll catch you tomorrow. All right, take care. What's up, Will? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with pound yen and most of the yen pairs as well. And of course, you've got CHF JPY, which I actually do really like CHF JPY because of where we're trading, just in general. Because if I remind you guys where we're trading in the monthly time frame, we're trading at all-time highs for CHF JPY. It's the only yen pair which is at all-time highs. Other yen pairs have kind of having bigger pullbacks in a larger downtrend, but CHF JPY, well, at least from 1973 anyway, these are the all-time highs for Swiss yen. So I do think for this one, we're going to have a pretty big retracement over the next kind of 12, 24 months, really. Of course, we're not looking to hold a trade for that long, but it's nice to know that, okay, we're taking our all-time highs, market slowing down, becoming very corrected now. I do think it's time to see a bit of a pullback and at least come back and retest that prior all-time high, which is around 158.3. So that's really where my goal is with Swiss yen, looking to sell it towards that direction, back to that level. Weekly chart, again, looks like we are forming that first lower high. We did actually get a break of structure down here. Price just about pinched the low there. And of course, this was the high that did it. And looks like the market's pulled back with that. Now we're seeing strong close to the downside as well. So I'm looking for price to come right back to the low here. And of course, eventually take out that low and get back to the all-time high, the previous all-time high level down there. So yeah, with CHF JPY looking very bearish. Of course, it's broken through some bullish structure as well. If I scoot to the left, you can see we broke through this structure here too. So invalidating all of that bullish momentum as well. So again, this is another market which I'm looking for a pullback of. And it would be nice to see a retest of this area here, of that support area. Retesting the 50 as well, 2 birds, 1 stone. And seeing that next lower high come into place. And hopefully swing it all the way back to the low there. Maybe leave some positions to trail back down to 159. That's probably me being a bit greedy there, but the opportunity definitely is there as well. So yeah, it looks like the yen pairs are likely going to keep falling. I'm pretty much looking at copy and paste opportunity across the board for every single yen pair. I think every yen pair does look great for a short. It's just about which one gives the best pullback, which one gives the best entry, best risk reward, and that'll be the trade that I look to take if I do get a trade, because maybe they should keep falling. But yeah, that's really where I'm at with the yen pair. So hopefully we can see those pullbacks after this week. But I do think it's on a one-way street for the yen pairs to the downside, and I don't see us unless out of nowhere something happens with yen and we go and break the highs to the upside. I think it's pretty unlikely we do that, but hey, the markets can surprise you if that happens there. If we go and take out that high, I will back off from that bearish bias. But as long as we stay underneath that, I am looking at a lower high and the market falling. So that will be my number one interest with the yen pairs. But again, looking at the higher time frames for a lot of them, they're just trading at some very critical areas. Euro yen as well. I like where Euro yen's trading in the monthly chart too. As you can see, the market has pinched a high here on the left. What happened after we did that? Market had a massive sell-off. Of course, this was 2008. Potentially might be seeing 2008 part 2. I'm joking, but that could happen as well. We could see a very strong move. Not too sure we'll come back to the lows here. I think we'll probably end up forming a higher low somewhere and pushing back up. But a drop like that, I do think is pretty feasible now for Euro yen. And you can see a really nice monthly candle closure there as well. So I do think probably going to keep that up back to 152 and probably break through that as well. Trev Beats, what is up? Hope you're well. France 40, okay, we'll have a look at that for you, no problem. What's up, Christopher? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yes, I had a great weekend. Thank you for asking. I hope you had a great weekend as well. Glad to have you back on the stream. Yeah, so with I'll go through some more indices as well because I haven't actually gone through any indices yet. Kingsley, what's up? Good morning. Hope you're well. Thoughts on Bitcoin? Okay, I'll go take a look at Bitcoin as well. Let me just go through the France 40 first for you, and then I'll go through Bitcoin, and we'll go through some more indices too. See what's happening with those markets. So at the moment with this one, I haven't looked at this one in a while, to be honest. Overall, of course, a very bullish market. We've taken out some major highs on the left not long ago. The market's still pushing to the upside pretty well. Still obeying structure. This was our past swing low, which gave us the new high. And it looks like the market is having a retracement of that. So as long as we stay above this swing low here, I'm looking for the high low to form. If we do break through that swing low, probably going to see a bigger pullback at some point. Drop into the weekly chart. Of course, we're just seeing that in a bit more detail as well. I think we're in a nice area where we could double bottom and possibly start to push to the upside as well from that area. So it's naturally in a nice place for a long. Daily chart, we have been in a bit of a bearish cycle, to be honest. On the lower time frames, you can see the market's forming these lower lows and lower highs. High over there, low, lower high, low over there. Market pullback, came back, retested that structure there, and it's been slowly falling to the downside there as well. So the market has been pretty bearish. It's starting to approach some lows here as well, though. So maybe that is going to start to slow down. Maybe pinch the low, and then we push to the upside. Let me know what time frames you're looking to trade on and work from. I mean, overall in the 4-hour chart, things are still looking pretty bearish. I think if you're looking for shorts, I do like this area over here. If you can pull back into that area around 7,400, I think that's a nice place for a short. If I whip out the fib from the high to the low, almost come back to the 50 in that area, I think that's a nice place for a sell. Also kind of lines up with the lows there as well too. But since we're coming back into a daily support here, I wouldn't want to be looking to short at these prices. See the market starting to find some support as well. So not the best place to short, and we're looking a little bit corrective now with these lower lows and lower highs. So not really a sign of a market that's moving quite healthy anymore. So if you can get a bigger pullback, shorts around here look good, take it back down. And if you're looking at longs, buys down here look good as well. A bit more aggressive because, of course, you're looking to try and catch the reversal of that bearish move we've seen over the past few days. So it's definitely a more aggressive trade, but it's a nice place for a long. As I said, I do want us to stay above this low here. If we don't, then we're probably going to see a bigger retracement on this market. But nice place to look for a long, and also a nice place to look for a short. So depending on your bias, your opportunities there. 15 minutes of 5. Okay, looking at a lot lower. Okay, so if you're on the 4 hour, there's some nice opportunities, but let me drop to the 15. Let me just clear some of the charts. So 15, that's 15 hours. Which one? 15 minutes. Okay, so we've obviously got the low down there, which was slowly pushing towards a 50-minute chart. This is a nice piece of structure here, which gave us that high, which we dropped and created some new lows there. So in terms of opportunities on the 15-minute chart, that was a nice sell there, but the market is now pretty stretched. So preferably, this is kind of the area which I'd look to try and operate in as well. If you could push a little bit deeper to that area, some shorts around that high will look good. I wouldn't try and be too optimistic and try and stretch to the low because I said we're hitting those daily levels there. But that would be a nice place to look for some entries around that high there, 7,250. Get some stops above that and expecting a bit of a dip to the downside, because the idea is that we're looking for a pullback of this move from that high to that low. So if this is going to be a pullback of that move and the market's going to keep falling, and this is about a nice area where we can see a pullback from. Of course, I'm pretty sure it lines up with the 50, 0.618. So it's healthy areas for shorts there around the 72.40, 72.50 mark. And we've got a nice high there to base an entry from and a stop loss from as well. So yeah, shorts around there look good. Maybe prices start keying, it might sell from there, but yeah, preferably that's really where the best place to find some entries is, and some shorts from there. So on the 50-minute chart is kind of where we're looking to get involved with, and yeah, looking for more downside as well. So yeah, hopefully that made sense on that one. I'll go through Bitcoin next. So Bitcoin, bit stalemate. Nothing too much has happened. Oh, actually looking a little bit bearish there. So yeah, we're pushing down a little bit now. So last week I did say for Bitcoin, I'm still very bullish on this one. I've talked about the 100K area there, and expecting prices still going to hit 100K, but maybe it's time for us to have a bit of a pullback now. I did talk about price possibly coming back for the double bottom of this area. We tested it once, pushed up, but again, we were still very, very corrective here, so I wasn't quite convinced. Now it looks like price is pushing back down, and looking like it got a lot of momentum there as well. So if we were to get back down there again, I think that'd be a nice place for a buy naturally around 92K. Let's see if we can catch the lows, because the idea of Bitcoin is that there's a lot of momentum. We don't want to see price break through structure, because if we start seeing that happening, then maybe price is going to have a bigger pullback, and maybe that bullish cycle is over potentially. So in terms of the buys out there for Bitcoin, you don't want to see price start to break through some of these lows, because it could indicate a much bigger pullback. But in terms of a solid place for a buy, this area still looks good around 92K. We bounced from it once really well. Could be seeing a double bottom before we push on. I think that's still a nice place for some entries. And like I said, I still think 100K is very likely for price to go and hit that, and see higher prices. Maybe first we're just shaking out a few buyers, maybe going to consolidate for maybe a couple of weeks. Maybe we are coming up to the Christmas period. Market might be becoming a little bit quieter over that period there. And maybe after New Year's, we might pick up again and see the next wave. But overall, still very bullish on Bitcoin, and I would be looking at buys around there. But yeah, we are looking a little bit bearish this morning. But again, if I expand to the daily chart, let's look at the whole kind of picture and not get too caught up in the intraday momentum there as well. The market's still very much in its bullish cycle right now. Overall momentum still up. You know, we could have a deep pullback into the zone there, and things are not really affected. Things are not really changed. And I would still expect to see a big push up. You know, all you have to do is look at the prior bullish cycles. You know, we had a pretty big pullback over here. Market still went to the upside very aggressively. Look back at this bullish cycle. Had a pretty big pullback over there. Still went to the upside pretty well. Had a pretty big pullback over here as well. Still did see a lot of upside. And of course, There's pretty big pullbacks in this sequence too. So big pullbacks shouldn't be too scary for Bitcoin. It depends on how bullish you are on the market, but bigger pullbacks aren't too scary. It's when we have the bigger sells and we start breaking through structure, that's when things are a little bit more worrisome with Bitcoin, which we haven't done yet. So yeah, the market's still very bullish for me, still expecting a lot more upside. I think 100K is still likely on its way. Just have to be a bit patient for this one. But yeah, might have a bit of a dip, retest some lows here, maybe even come a little bit lower to the bottom of that range there, around 88K. Might even see that happen too. But yeah, expecting eventually that 100K mark to be hit. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with Bitcoin, and a quick look at Ethereum. So Ethereum looking pretty bearish as well. Looks like maybe crypto's down at the moment, selling off pretty hard there. But overall, I do think there's still more upside to be had again with Ethereum as well. I looked at this channel here the market's been trading with. We broke out of that channel a while ago. It's actually a similar situation to what happened with Bitcoin. The fact is we broke out of a channel with Bitcoin and we flew. Ethereum's finally gone and done that. Is this a fake out or does price mean business this time? We'll see on the retest. If price can maintain the highs there and push on, great. We're probably going to see price really push off and go and take out the highs just like Bitcoin did. If we do close back below, that's where alarm bells will start to ring. I'll be very skeptic about the price action on Ethereum. And yeah, not too convinced about the buys at all, really, if you do close back inside that range. So overall for Ethereum, it's been a nice breakout, nice kind of closure to the upside. I do think there's a lot more upside to be had with Ethereum, but we must stay above 3,400. If we start breaking back below that, I will lose a lot of confidence in the buy, because then we're back in the range. I'll be looking at this as a big fake out. And if that's the case, I'll be looking at a massive swing all the way right back down to the lows here. And that is not what you want to see as a buyer of Ethereum. Of course, if you're looking to sell, it could be a really nice prospect, but still focus on the buys here and looking for that retest. So keep a close eye on 3,400 for Ethereum. I feel like that area is kind of make or break, but at the moment we are selling off with quite a lot of momentum, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds today. Yeah, Bitcoin pushing down as well, not as hard as Ethereum right now, but yeah, I do think it's just a pause in what I'm expecting a lot more bullish to come that way. So yeah, overall still pretty bullish. So yeah, in terms of the markets which I'm interested in, as I said, pretty much any yen pair which pullbacks well, I'll be interested for a short. I like pound CAD for the shorts, as we discussed. Looks really good on the lower high and the retest of forget the price. Yeah, 1.79 looks really good for a short. And then I also do like New Zealand CHF, which I did miss last week, unfortunately. It's looking pretty bullish at the moment. I am looking for a pretty big retracement now for Ethereum. We are respecting the prior lows here pretty well. So the swing low we made on that massive drop in July. And I do think price is likely going to have a bigger pullback first before maybe expecting more downside later on. And does look like we're bouncing at that low. So what I'm looking at now, since it looks like I missed the trade from last week, which was the retest of this low, what I'm looking to see now is a break of structure. So if price can break the highs here, that'd be fantastic. Break through the highs, and then I'll be looking at a high low afterwards and a retest and some buys, then targeting a push back to the high over there. So that will be the plan. The original plan was entries down here, but that boat has kind of sailed unless we come back down to retest it, which I'm not too sure we will. But if we do, fantastic. Look for the new highs, look for the higher low. That'll be the trade I'm after. And yeah, targets right back at 0.536 will be the plan. So I also do really like New Zealand CHF. Got to be patient with that one. But yeah, did miss that opportunity last week, unfortunately. What's up, Salman? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. Thank you. Yes, I will go through Pound USD. Pound USD is a pair on my watch list, so I'm keeping a close eye on that one this week. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out the stream, does really help out the channel. So yeah, I do really appreciate that, guys. If you are enjoying the content, finding it useful, educational, informing, show some love, drop a like. It does really help out. Anyway, yes, we'll go through pound USD. Currently resisting it. I'm looking for some short-term sells. Okay, down into 1.26044. Okay, I'll go through that opportunity. We'll take a look. And yes, Christopher, we'll take a look at Euro Aussie for you. No problem. So yeah, pound USD, I'm really bullish on. Looking for buys. I am looking for some retracement first, but overall, the bigger move for me still looks pretty bullish. So I'm still looking to long, expecting weakness on USD as well. So if dollar is going to drop, I'm expecting pound USD to push up too. But what we have done recently is break the highs there, and we wicked through them. We did see a bit of a candle close there on Friday, but overall having a lot of trouble pushing to the upside. So I would imagine you're looking to anticipate a bit of a sell-off from this, and rightly so. On the lower time frames, I'll be expecting a bit of a drop as well. Of course, I'm looking for the bigger move to the upside, and the 4-hour chart is the chart I'm trading. But I would anticipate you probably looking at some opportunities on the lower time frames. 2786. So basically the high. I'm not quite the high up there. 2786 is around here-ish. Wait, I don't think, are you talking about 2.786 or is that a typo? Because I think you're probably talking about somewhere around here. Because 1.2786, we haven't tested it yet. I mean, last time we were there is when we had that break to the downside. So I'm not too sure if that's the area you're talking about. Okay, so I think you're looking for some shorts on the retest of this area here because we failed to break through the area a couple times. Now the market looking like it's about to roll over. So if that's what you're looking for, yes, I would agree with that on the lower time frames. Price had two attempts to try and push past the high. It's kind of failed to do that, 1 and 2. So I think that's what you're looking at and what you're mentioning. Prices test that area a couple of times and starting to fail. So yeah, I would expect to see some retracement from that. I think the key thing you want to be seeing really is price taking out some of the lows and looking for some pullbacks of that. Because at the moment we're coming back, retest some support. Market's kind of holding on to that a little bit. If we can show some evidence of price breaking through and then some pullbacks afterwards, that could be a really nice trade, maybe in the 15-minute for some entries and looking to take that back down to 1.26 roughly. I think that could be like a nice target. Yeah, 1.26 is your target. So that's really where I'm looking for my entries. So yeah, it looks like a nice area to target, coming back to retest the highs here on the left. And yeah, downside does look pretty good, to be honest. Okay, yeah, 1.27189. So yeah, the highs over there. So yeah, we've tested that area a couple of times. Market's failing to break through, just taking out some major highs on the left. So a pullback looks likely, and hopefully that does happen for your sake and for mine, because I want pound USD to pull back and then find some longs. And I know you're looking to try and take advantage of that pullback. So yeah, I would agree. I do think pound USD can see some downside, starting to fade at the highs there. It would be nice if you can break through some lows as well, just to put the cherry on top, because otherwise you might still have another attempt to break through and then eventually do actually see a break. So a break of the lows really shows the intent from the bears, breaking support, and then pullbacks after that, probably in the 15 to maximize risk reward will look probably like a nice opportunity. And yeah, 1.26 looks like a nice area. So yeah, shorts look good. Not something I'm after. It's a bit more intraday, the opportunity you're after there. And I'm looking for a bit more swing, but I think it looks like a nice trade on the lower time frames nonetheless. So yeah, keep an eye on that. Okay, we'll go take a look at Euro Aussie next for Christopher. Again, Euro Aussie, not my favorite pair, but a pair nonetheless. We have taken out the lows here pretty well. So I'm looking at bigger pullback for Euro Aussie. Oh, don't want me to do that. I'm looking at bigger pullback for Euro Aussie because we've taken out some key lows here on the left. I do think eventually we'll really break through because although we just about had a small wick through, it's not really price breaking through that level. So I do think we're going to have that bigger breakout and really sell off. But overall, this is still a very powerful level of support and an area where a lot of buyers will be sitting, and we've rejected the low pretty well. So in terms of looking for short opportunities, I would be at least waiting for price to push back into the high over here, around 763,430 before looking for any bearish opportunities. I say that because at least we're back with resistance, back where the sellers are sitting. This is where our last swing to the downside came from. So that's naturally where I'll be looking for price to push into. This here is still bullish territory, coming back into a swing low like this. And the fact is we come back from a really strong low on the daily chart as well. I would still be expecting a bit more upside for Euro Aussie. I mean, maybe the buys here could look good, but I would rather wait for that bigger pullback, some sells over there. And if you break through that, area, then I'll be looking at an even bigger pullback all the way to the high here on the left, 1.655, because basically the market is just moving sideways. So it's about finding the best areas to short from, and that's normally major resistance in these conditions because the market seems to be rebounding between them. So yeah, I'll be looking at downside for Euro Aussie, but I want a bit more upside. I want a price to be further away from the lows here, so preferably around 1.634. And if you push higher, 1.655 looks pretty good as well. And of course, the shorts will look a lot better from those prices, and the risk reward will be a lot better as well. But for now, I think we'll probably see a bit of a bounce there for Euro Aussie. Hey, what's up, Kwame? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Welcome. Okay, Aussie yen, we'll take a look. No problem. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for Euro Aussie. Some shorts a little bit higher up. Those are the places where I'll consider some longs. Yeah, this is still kind of bullish territory, so I wouldn't be looking for any meaningful shorts in these prices. In terms of Aussie yen, we touched on that briefly before. Again, I think this looks like a really nice place for a short, a really nice market to short. And this looks like a really nice place to short, 99.600, 99.800. Pullbacks to that area look really, really good. The plan with Aussie yen for myself is looking for the pullback of this leg here. We've got the 50% lining up just there quite well. So I'm looking for price to pull back into that area, retest it, double top, bearish engulfing candle, and looking for a lower high to develop there. And looking to catch that next lower high there. Got another one there as well. So that's where my confidence lies. You can see on the weekly chart, really strong close to the downside last week, really strong drop. So the chances are momentum is going to carry us to the downside here. But to remove my drawing for a second, you can see the consolidation, big wicks to the upside. Price tried to continue bullish but failed. Then we had a strong close this week. I'm just expecting price to keep pushing to the downside now. So yeah, extremely bearish with Aussie yen. In terms of targets of where I'm expecting price to push into, I'm looking for a push all the way down into the lows here, which is around 93, 94. I mean, really, I expect price to go and break the lows, but at least to push back down to that zone is what I'm looking for. It's just about if we can get the pullback I'm after. But, we just have to wait and see. As a trader, you've got to react to what the market's giving you. Of course, you don't want to force things, but have a plan, create a plan, have a plan, and then see that plan through, whether you get a trade or you don't get a trade, or the trade fails or the trade wins. As long as you're planning and then seeing out that plan, you can always look to improve from there. If you're just making up things as you go along, then you've got no solid foundation to work with. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for Aussie yen retest around 99.8, and looking for some entries down the 4 hour. Take it all the way back down to the low here. Look to book profits there, but really the trade for me will be back down to that low. So yeah, overall, that's what I'm looking at for Aussie yen. In terms of some of the other pairs, because I'll go through a lot of the crosses. No problem, Chris. Happy to help. I'll go through the crosses in a moment, but we did touch on a couple CAD pairs previously. Like I said, with pound CAD, I do really like the shorts for this one. This one's on the watch list. I'm actively looking for shorts around 1.79. If price keeps this corrective behavior up, slows down a little bit, throws some more wicks, nice bearish engulfing from that level or in that area, I will be looking to short pound CAD, trying to catch that next swing. Euro CAD I also do like, but not as much as pound CAD. But again, I think some shorts from 1.49 look very, very good as well. Pretty much equally as good because pound CAD, Euro CAD, they do the same thing. Probably both of them sell off together. So I think some shorts around there look really good. So keep an eye on that one. But looking at some of the other CAD pairs, bit more complicated, a bit more difficult of an opportunity with these ones, not as clean. You can see here with Aussie CAD, we're still forming these higher highs and higher lows. Market still trending to the upside, but overall, on the higher time frames, the market still trends to the downside. So there's a bit of a conflict there between market structure. We've got lower lows and lower highs on the daily chart here. As you can see, the market swing to the downside. And then, of course, this is the weekly chart actually. But then if I go to the daily chart, we're seeing higher highs and higher lows. So preferably, I would want to follow the higher time frame, which is the weekly chart. So as you can see, daily chart pushing to the upside, higher highs and higher lows. I'd want to follow the higher time frame structure, which will be the weekly. So shorts do look good, but at the same time, we do have this trend line here, which is why I've been wanting the daily trend line here to break and overall the channel to break as well. Because I know if price can break out this channel, it probably means that the weekly trend is going to continue and probably going to see some really nice shorts, on the way down to that low. At the moment, the market's still just about hugging onto that low of the trend line, and we might have another bounce here, and maybe the daily trend is going to continue. Who knows? But what I can say in terms of nice opportunity, it would be waiting for price to break that trend line and start to trend further. Then I know the shorts will look a lot better. We've broken through that obstacle. Most likely, we're going to see a pretty big drop to the downside. I did suggest last week there's some premature shorts available there as well. If the market was to push a little bit higher up back into this area, that could be a nice place for a short, maybe lining up with some resistance here on the left as well. That could be a nice short. The only reason why I wouldn't take that trade is just because of the daily trend line. The market's still consistently putting in higher highs and higher lows. Now we just tested the lower end of the channel there as well. The market could very much push to the upside and push back to that high, which is not something you want to be seeing as a seller. You want price to be breaking through that structure and then finding pullbacks afterwards, knowing that you got a much cleaner path to follow. Market moves in the path of least resistance. There's definitely some resistance there to the downside, so the shorts aren't of high quality, but it's a nice area. I must admit the market's still forming lower highs there pretty well, and there's a good chance we could form another one. It's just we've got some obstacles to watch out for. And same situation with New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, higher time frames. Go to the weekly / monthly chart. Overall, the trends to the downside pretty well. But if I do drop to the daily chart, you can see we're getting the opposite of that. Market's pushing to the upside, higher highs and higher lows. Again, the trend is still very tired, so I do think eventually this trend is going to end. We haven't broke through structure yet, so a break of that low would be nice. We did break through the trend line, which was an indication that we're about to go and break the lows, but it didn't. We climbed back inside that range, back inside the trend line, which made things very awkward, which is what I was talking about last week. So again, there could be a nice, let me draw that back in. There could be a nice short there with NZD CAD as we approach these prices. Pretty much the same opportunity as New Zealand CAD. Looking for the lower high here and a short to the downside. But again, we just run into the same obstacle, which is that daily trend line. So it's always just a bit difficult to short into those areas. If price broke through the trend line and stayed below and kept pushing and broke the lows there as well, then the shorts would look a lot better. It doesn't mean it can't play out. It just means you're shorting to a high time frame trend line, which isn't the best level. You'd always want price to be below that or trading away, so you don't trade directly into that area. So that's why in New Zealand CAD and Aussie CAD, I'm not so focused on this week. I'm waiting for price to make their move, whether they're actually going to respect the low of the trend lines and possibly continue those daily trends, or they're going to break through and reverse the daily trends and continue the weekly ones. Need a bit more information there, but the pound CAD and Euro CAD look pretty clear, especially pound CAD, which is why my focus will definitely be with that pair this week out of the CAD pairs at least. So hopefully you can find some entries later on. So that will be my main focus, but I'll go through some of the crosses now. Yeah, none of the crosses are on my watch list. We just went through Euro Aussie. In fact, actually, pound NZD I do like. It's just not near to an entry, so that's why I'm not really focused on it, to be honest. But if it does get back to that area, we'll actually be looking for some entries, and it's been the same situation for a few weeks now, so that's why I've kind of neglected the pair a little bit. But if it does get back to this 1.25 area, I will be looking for some entries. I'm at least looking for a bounce here. You can see for pound NZD being pretty consistent with the higher lows. Another one there, third, fourth, looking for another one on the test of that area. Prior resistance sent us to the downside. Price now broken through that. Looking for that to hold as support for at least a bit of a bounce to the upside. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound NZD. And it's a nice area of confluence. Pullbacks are healthy. Market's still very corrective on the way down. So that tells me that there's not a lot of momentum, not a lot of bearish pressure. There's a good chance of us seeing a bit of a bounce there, and probably us pushing to the upside as well. So with pound NZD, it's all about timing really, because the buys don't look good here, not really coming to any area of confluence. But if you do approach these areas, start to see the same rejection, I'll be more than happy to find some buys there and see if I can take it higher. And if we're lucky, maybe even back to the high there on the left. If the trend's going to continue, there's a good chance we can see a push all the way back to 2.19 there as well. So I'm going to keep a very close eye there for pound NZD. First things first, though, I want to see price come back and retest support first. And then I'll look for some entries there to take pound NZD to the upside. But we're not trading anywhere near that, so the focus isn't really there. If I shift over to pound Aussie, similar pair to pound NZD, this one has had some nice upside. Came back into a nice area for a buy, which we were speaking about last week. So we had the higher low there, second there, third. Looks like we've got a fourth there. We haven't necessarily created new highs, so technically it's not really a higher low, because for it to be a higher low, we have to create new highs. But the market is still steadily pushing to the upside. These lows are higher than the previous one, so there is some type of bullish pressure in the market is slowly pushing to the upside as well. In terms of the next opportunity, it's difficult unless we come back down there again. I'm not really seeing any opportunities to get involved with pound Aussie. Now isn't the time to be looking for any entries, really, in my opinion. The market is very choppy, consolidating a lot. If you're looking for entries, you want to be focused, up at the highs around these areas, or down at the lows down these areas. Here is definitely no man's land. Very difficult to find consistent, decent entries in those areas before the indecision, all the speculation, and all the chaotic price action. It's very difficult to find some nice stops, nice entries, and take some trades. At least when you're down at the lows here or at the highs, you got resistance to your backs, you got key support to your backs, where you can base a nice trade and put a stop loss underneath or above. Here, not so much. So I would wait for price to at least push back to 1.93 before looking for any entries there. Or, of course, at least push for price to go back to the highs and then start looking for some entries up there. But really, I don't really have a plan with pound Aussie this week. It's a pair which I looked at over the weekend, not really looking too great. Pound NZ looks a little bit better anyway, so rather just focus on that one because it's a similar pair. No need to try and focus on both of them. And I'll just be waiting for pound NZD to see if that can present itself. In terms of Euro NZD, so we had a look at Euro Aussie. I'm looking for a bigger move to the upside before a big sell. This one as well, it's just pure consolidation, really equal highs over there, equal lows down here. I do think eventually it's going to be a really big move to the downside for Euro NZD. We're trading at some really big heights, this is the weekly chart. In fact, if we go to the monthly chart, see a little bit clearer, you can see where we're trading. Really massive resistance here, big rejections previously, one over there, second over there. This was COVID, by the way. Huge wick to the upside, price pull back, close in that level. Now we're testing that level again on multiple occasions. So to me, it does look like price is very tired. We've got multiple attempts to try and break through. Price hasn't really managed to do that at all. So I do think the bigger move for USD now is likely going to be a big move to the downside, back to 1.65, 1.6 potentially as well. So all eyes on the shorts, but if that is the case, then I need price to be breaking out of the consolidation. I need price to be breaking the lows here, and then I can start talking about some trends and following that trend to the downside. And these would be the really nice short opportunities, but we're a long way of that forming and still comfortably within the range here. So I did say last week the shorts look good on the retest of the high for that kind of head and shoulder pattern, which we did once, but it doesn't look like we've come back again. I said last week it'd be nice if we can push back, retest the high there, then get the short, but we didn't have quite enough juice to get back and retest the high. It looks like price is trying to break through support here. In fact, it looks like it kind of did on that previous candle, so maybe we are going to see another swing to the downside. I did say as well last week that shorts do look good if we can break the lows. So say price gets a really strong break to the downside and some shorts back up again. I think that could be a really nice short there, retesting those areas and finding some entries there too. And it's not a bad trade. It's not a great trade because overall it's in that range. But if the market was to pull back, retest the lows well at that area, there's a good chance we can use that to our advantage and short from. The only reason why I don't like it very much is because we're pretty much in the middle of a range, and that's where you're going to see the maximum speculation, maximum indecision, and very easy a wick just pierce through your stop and then price continues to move down. All right, take care. We'll have a good one, my man. As always, we'll hope you see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate it. If you guys are joining the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But I do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. It does really help out. But yeah, that's kind of what I'll be looking at for Euro NZD. It really does depend on how price develops in that consolidation and if we do get the breakout. And that's probably the only time when I'll start to look for some entries, really. Not a big fan of trading the middle of the range, especially when the yen pairs look so good. There's no need to try and force things on a pair which isn't quite ready yet to fulfill my bias. But yeah, Euro NZD shorts could look good down the break. In terms of like Euro pound and Aussie New Zealand dollar, yeah, Euro pound started off the week pretty bearish. I did mention on my weekly analysis that if we do break through that 0.83 level, which we have done very well, that there could be some nice shorts on the retest of that low. So price can get back below that. I do think the retest of these areas, 0.83, looks really good. And some shorts back to the wick low makes a lot of sense because, as you can see previously, we tested the support a few occasions. Price broke through the low. So if we're going to break through it again, where are we going to get to? Probably back to the same low. And maybe form some new lows there as well. So 0.8259. That's exactly what the market has gone and done. So overall, I do think Euro pound has a bit more downside to offer to at least pinch the lows there. Again, in terms of the bigger move, I'm still relatively bullish. Oh, that's the 1 minute time frame. I'm still relatively bullish on Euro pound because of where we're trading. Massive monthly level support here, as you can see. So really strong support here, 0.83 overall. Massive rejections at these areas previously. There's a good chance price can come into that level, respect it, and push to the upside as well. So overall, the bigger move for me is still to the upside until we break through this, until I see a strong candle closure to the downside, breaking the lows like that. If that's the case, then of course, I rest my case. Potentially price is going to break the low and really drop. But at this moment in time, price is still trading at key support, and we could be seeing a strong bounce to the upside at 0.83 there. So Going to the lower time frames, I want to see price show me evidence of structure shifting, structure changing. At the moment, we're still kind of slowly falling to the downside. Haven't really broken for any major structure, and who knows, maybe we are getting ready to break lower. But for the bigger buys, because we're even breaking through 0.83, that level is no longer holding. I want to see evidence of price breaking structure to the upside, some higher highs, higher lows shaping up. And then I'll start to look for some longs there myself. If we get something like that, I'll be happy to look for longs. I haven't looked for any longs yet for Euro Pound just because it's not my favorite market to trade. So unless the opportunity is crystal clear and A1, I'm not really looking to take any trades. Same thing with Aussie, New Zealand dollar, which I'll take a look next. But until we see something like that, I'm not really eager to press the buy or sell button yet. This is what I want to see before I do take any longs. In the meantime, though, like I said, some nice shorts on the retest there look good. If we take a look at Aussie, New Zealand dollar, which was actually very bearish last week. Yeah, very strong close to the downside. How do we close in the monthly chart? Okay, we left a big wick to the upside. So yeah, overall, not looking too hot, I must say, for Aussie, New Zealand dollar. Again, I do expect at one point a bigger pullback here, but yeah, it's not looking too great, especially for all those wicks there on the monthly chart. It looks like we're really failing to break through that area of resistance there on the monthly. So dropping to the weekly chart, I do think there could be a really big sell for Aussie New Zealand dollar as we keep fading at the highs here. And that could take us back to the lower ends of the range. So back down to 1.059, possibly even further as well. So if I do drop to the daily chart, yeah, since we are fading at the highs there, I think if we can get a break of structure, which is breaking through the low here. So if we can break through that low, then I would be looking at a lower high forming and then the short like that. And that's not a bad trade because of where we're trading, because we've pinched some big highs here, pinched it again with that move there and a big break of structure. And of course, because we're at the high of the range, you expect to see a big drop to the low, unless we're going to have a big breakout, of course, which at the moment not looking quite likely, especially with all that impulsive behavior to the upside, followed by a really strong move to the downside, giving us that V-shaped pattern. Well, inverse V-shaped pattern, I should say. So impulse normally indicates a market that's about to reverse. So going forward with Aussie New Zealand dollar, I would wait for that structure to break, a lower high to form. Retrace 50%, 0.618 of that move, and then a lower high and look to short something like that. It would be particularly great if we can get a retest of this area here and base a trade from that, and then look for a short. But yeah, overall, Aussie New Zealand dollar, I would be expecting a lot more downside for this pair. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of the crosses. So until I see some more development, I won't be looking for any entries. Andrea, okay, Pound USD, I will take a look at for you. Pound USD is a pair on my watch list at the moment. I'm looking to see if I can get some buys for that one, actually. And I'll go through the CHF pairs as well, because I've only gone through New Zealand CHF. But yeah, with Pound USD, I'm looking at some buys. If I drop to the weekly chart, I'm looking for potential of the higher low here forming. The market's been very consistent. This was our last major swing low before we formed the high over there. It's looked to me that price is potentially having a pullback of that move. We've come back into the 0.5, 0.618 of that swing. And we had a pretty nice close to the upside there last week as well. So dropping down to the daily chart, seeing some momentum shifting, and especially dropping to the 4-hour chart, you can see a nice break of structure there as well. So as you can see, price is broken through the highs there. Now I'm looking at a pullback to retest this area for hopefully a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern. So of course, you've got the left shoulder over there, you've got the head over there. And of course, I'm looking at the right shoulder there at the 1.262 area. That's why I'm looking for the higher low, and then some buys all the way back into 1.28396 is what I'm looking to take price. So Yeah, pound USD to me, I'm very bullish on. Really nice move to the upside. Looks like dollar's going to see the opposite move. I'll go quickly through the DXY as well, but pound USD looks really good on this pullback, higher low, and then some longs. What's up, Ben? Welcome, welcome. What do you miss? So just going through Euro, Pound, Aussie, New Zealand dollar, and some of the CAD pairs as well. I do like Pound CAD to the downside. Euro CAD looks good as well, but Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD not quite there yet, and still not a big fan of Euro, Pound, and Aussie, New Zealand dollar, as I rarely am. But I think Aussie, New Zealand dollar actually there could be an opportunity in the next couple of days, maybe if you do see a nice break of structure. DAX breaking out again. Okay, I'm supposed to go through the indices. I'll go through the indices in a moment. But yeah, pound USD, Andrea, that's what I'm looking at for pound. Hopefully a pullback into 1.2622. Find some entries, and then we'll take it back to that high, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, I'll quickly go through some of the indices. We'll start with the DAX. That one is apparently breaking out. Oh, yes, it is. My word, that is a big breakout there. Yeah, Ben is definitely not joking. That was a pretty big breakout. How we're looking on the daily time frame. Wow, so that's just momentum there, all to the upside. So yeah, I mean, now the fact with that breakout, we're now creating some new all-time highs, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I believe so. So yeah, the market is pushing back to some new all-time highs here. So what's next with the DAX? Well, I would expect to see retracement, of course, but I wouldn't be looking to try and capitalize on that retracement in a market like the DAX, predominantly looking at buys, especially when the market's showing momentum like this. If we can go through some retracement, there might be some counter trend sells to look at. Always be a bit careful when you are counter trend trading on the indices. It's not like counter trend trading on the FX pairs where there are some nice trends against the trend. But predominantly when indices are creating new highs, new all-time highs, overall in that bullish climate, it's always very difficult to get long-term shorts with them. Short-term, sure, you can find some intraday trades, but yeah, trying to look for a swing trade to the downside is always mission impossible. But yeah, the DAX is looking really strong right now, I must say. There's not much to do now, really, other than wait for the next pullback phase and the next buy opportunity, really. But yeah, it's looking really, really bullish. New all-time highs. Who knows how far we can push before the next pullback. Okay, looking for a big bullish month. Oh yeah, looking for those profits to pay for Christmas. December season will be the best month for them. Okay, Santa Claus rally. Yeah, of course, Santa Claus rally. Yeah, I mean, that could be very much the case. I mean, I'm looking across the board. I had a look at the indices over the weekend. Naturally, still looking very, very bullish for all of them. I do expect retracement. Yes, US 30 expect retracements, creating new all-time highs again. So it's probably going to come back to its retracement. But overall, the larger structure to the upside, daily structure to the upside, momentum still to the upside as well. Seeing if we do go through a bit of a dip in the market, we're going to form a higher low, most likely, to keep pushing to the upside and see some new highs there as well. So across the board, at least for the indices, I do think price is going to keep pushing to the upside and create some new highs there. No, I'm trading, Ben. I'm trading on a demo account. I haven't started with a live account, but I finished the testing phase about a couple of months ago. So I've been trading on a demo account before I traded my live. I haven't got many trades, to be fair. I've probably got about 4 or 5 actually. So far it's been all right, but yeah, we'll be looking to add it to my live account soon. Rocking Boys, what's up? Silver, okay, we'll have a look. See, I actually like it, Ben. I actually like it a lot. It's like I said, when I was testing it, I figured in terms of how I trade FX, With US 30, I'm a bit more aggressive with my buys because with US 30, the way it pullbacks, it has the pullbacks and it just goes, it rarely kind of stays for too long before the push. And in terms of breaking structure as well, normally in FX, when I'm looking for reversals, I'm waiting for price to create lower lows and lower highs and then break structure, then push on. And these are the opportunities I'm kind of looking for. In terms of US 30, what I find is I haven't tested the other indices yet, but at least from US 30, we tend to see the lower lows and lower highs, but we tend to just go. We don't really get that break of structure and then the higher low and then the push and the pullbacks afterwards. And we normally kind of break structure in one go and push. Then maybe like a few days later, we'll go through some more frequent pullbacks and then we'll have another big pullback and then we'll just push on and then the cycle continues. So that's kind of noticed with US 30s that we're more aggressive on the buys, and then we normally push on quite for quite a while, which is kind of what we're doing now. And then we'll go through that bigger pullback phase and then we'll push on. So I have to be a bit more aggressive with the buys because with my FX, I normally wait for the break of structure and then some pullbacks afterwards. If I do that with US 30, I would be missing out on pretty much 70% of all the swing trades I'm looking to capitalize on. So I have to be a bit more aggressive. And it's okay being a bit more aggressive with US 30 because the market's just naturally bullish. So the buys are the buy setups actually play out a lot more because of course that's all what the market does. It just keeps pushing to the upside. So you can get away with being a bit more aggressive with US 30. And I would imagine it's the same with S&P and NAS. Yeah, of course, of course. They're a little bit different to the FX. FX is a lot more corrective because if you're trading FX, especially for a long time, if you look at the higher time frames, overall FX is pretty much more or less in a range, maybe a slight trend here and there, but they're more or less in ranges. So they have nice trends, but they hit a high and they come back down, nice trends, and then they return as well. So though overall the market's kind of sideways, but they do have trends within that range. So that's kind of the trends I'm trading. But with the indices, overall the trend is up, market's just pushing up. So it's about actively taking those buy positions. And yeah, the volatility is very nice as well. Yeah, trade momentum much of the time. Yeah, of course, of course. It's a different type of market. Aggressive sell, usually opportunities to look for buy longs. Yeah, yeah, I've seen that a lot as well. Of course, literally the market's 100% win rate every dip that's ever happened in US 30. So, if you take that logic, every dip has always resulted in a new all-time high. Um, it makes perfect sense to be looking to find those buys every time the market does go for an aggressive dip. Okay, I'll go through silver for you, rocking boys. Pound. Okay, I'll take a look at pound yen. What were you doing to pound yen, rocking boys? Were you buying or selling pound yen? Let me know. Then I can be a bit more help when I do review it. Something bad's happening in the world. True, true. Yeah, yeah. FX is a little bit different to the indices, and of course that's where all my experience lies with trading. So testing the US 30 in terms of because I've always analyzed the indices for a long time, like at least 4 years now. I've been looking at the indices actively. In terms of buying, selling, that's a whole different kettle of fish. Analysis is very different from actually entering and putting stop losses and trading a market. Because with analysis, you can say you're bullish or bearish. As long as the market moves up, your analysis has worked out. But in terms of finding an actual profile, an actual trade where you're managing risks, it's a whole different element to it. So in terms of US 30, I can see there's a clear difference between buying the dips in US 30. You want to be a bit more aggressive because we tend to just fly. Whereas because of FX, we're a bit more flat. So we kind of slowly push up and down. Okay, I'll go through silver and I'll take a look at that pound yen. Okay, you were selling. I'm very bearish on pound yen, so I'd only be looking at sells as well, but it might just be that you're just in the market a little bit too early. Market has a bigger pullback. Then we continue, but I'll go over that in detail in a second. But yeah, for silver, I'm very bullish on silver as well, looking for more upside. I'm pretty much just staying patient before getting involved. This is a swing I'm looking to trade here with silver, swing low to swing high. I'm basically looking for a pullback of that move for the next continuation back to the high and a new higher high. We've had a pretty big pullback. If I map up the high to the low, see you coming to 0.618, nice little double bottom there as well. So I think from here is a respectable price, a reasonable price, where now we can start to see some higher highs and higher lows forming, and possibly a push all the way back to the high there. So that's really the plan with silver. But in terms of timing and finding buys, this is what I'm looking for before finding some entries. And this is actually the same point I was making with US 30. If it was US 30, I'd be trying to get in at the lows here, because with US 30, we don't normally see the pullbacks for these opportunities. We don't always see them in FX, but more often than not, we do see them, and there's some really nice trades there. But with indices, we kind of just fly. So with silver, I'm looking for the pullbacks afterwards for some buys there. Like I said, you can look to try and anticipate some entries here as well, just a bit more aggressive. But the bigger move for silver, I'm still looking at a push all the way back to the high there. So that is really the plan with silver. And as I said on the daily chart, it'd be very nice if we can get back above this daily resistance here and look for some buys on top of that. That will be very, very nice. And yeah, I'll expect the price to go and smash into the highs and create some new ones whilst we're at it. But that is the game plan there with silver. Still very long bias. Hopefully can find some pullback shortly to take it all the way back to 34.8. Okay, I'll go through pound yen for you, rocking boys. Yeah, true. It is basically foolproof because every previous event that has happened is always resulted in price getting back to highs and making new highs. So unless that doesn't happen in the future, which would be quite significant, if you give the market enough time, it will get back to the high. It hasn't proven otherwise. So therefore, it is pretty much foolproof, really, to be honest. So yeah, I would have to agree with that. So yeah, in terms of pound yen, I do like the shorts for this one as well. I'm very bearish on pound yen. As I've said earlier in the stream, I'm bearish across the board for yen pairs. Overall, I'm looking for a push back down to this zone here, 184, 182. That's what I'm looking for price to get to. But you can see the current structure is still pretty bearish for pound yen. Still seeing lower lows and lower highs. This is the area which I'm looking for price to pull back into. We test that low, test the 50, hopefully see the next lower high, and then looking for the next continuation. That is very much the plan. But there's also some lower time frame structure where we're seeing lower lows and lower highs as well. So as you can see here, the high there, create that low, create that high, which create that low. So again, the pullbacks here you can look to follow as well. But again, you have to be patient as well. So I would suggest at least probably looking for a pullback into this zone here, just above the 0.618, because that's where we got some price support, which we broke through very aggressively with a lot of momentum. Price can come back, retest that area. That way you're away from the noise as well, because all we have right now is a lot of consolidation here. So looking to get involved there is not really what you're going to be doing. If you can wait for price to push a little bit away, test some areas up here, there's a good chance you can catch a nice reaction in your favor, possibly to the lows there. It doesn't necessarily have to be all the way to the lows for it to be a successful trade, but it does open up the door to that swing. But yeah, it's just naturally a more promising area to short from. If price goes and breaks through the high here, then you're probably going to get that bigger pullback, and the pullback which I mentioned on the 4-hour chart is probably what we're going to see, and pull back to here, and then the shorts will look good. So in terms of the shorts, I'm very bearish with pound yen, same as you. It just maybe you enter the market a little bit too early. So if the market does push up back to these areas, start looking for some entries again, and you push back to there. If you're still interested, Some entries look great there as well. But overall, pretty bearish on pound yen, expecting a lot lower prices there. Okay, dollar CHF buy and trash. I haven't actually looked at dollar CHF yet. Dollar CHF, you've got a long entry. So are you long at the moment, or are you looking for a buy entry? Now, dollar CHF is a market which I'm not the biggest fan of, mainly because we're middle of nowhere, really. These are swing highs, these are swing lows. This is kind of like 50% of that. So not really something I'm looking at. If the market created new lows, then great, but it didn't. It respected the lows. So overall, the way I'm looking at the market is more of a range rather than trend. So right now, we're kind of in the middle of that range. So it's not really something which I want to be getting involved with. I do think we can go for a bit of a retracement for dollar CHF, possibly to this area here. So I'm looking at a bit of downside for dollar CHF, especially with the way the trend is moving. You can see we had some new highs created, but as soon as we created them, we came right back down. So it's a sign that the trend is starting to become a lot weaker. Bullish momentum is starting to deplete. And if we can see price break structure, that's an indication to me that the sells actually look pretty good. Some lower highs afterwards, and probably some shorts back to that same area. Now, the bigger move might still be to the upside for dollar CHF, but the way I see it, the market's kind of ranging. So it's nothing that I want to look too much into, because where I get my buys from, where I get my edge from is in trending market conditions, not when we're sideways, respecting highs, respecting lows. So not a big fan of dollar CHF for those reasons, but we've had a pretty nice up move. The market's a bit stretched, especially if the DXY is going to respect 107, which so far looks likely. That should push dollar CHF to the downside as well. Of course, it would depend on what happens with CHF, but I do expect dollar CHF to push down. But looking at the DXY, I am looking at some sell opportunities. Drop into the 4 hour. That's really what I'm looking at. That left head, right shoulder, really nice break of that structure there as well. So it has opened up the door to some lower highs there at 107. So entries there, stops above the high, looking for a big push to the downside, back into those areas, and hopefully a lot further as well. But overall, yeah, pretty bearish on USD. So pretty much all the USD majors, I'm looking for USD weakness against pretty much every currency. And that's kind of where my opportunity lies, where my bias lies for at least this week, until maybe something drastically changes, which could happen on NFP this Friday. But so far, the technicals do point to the downside for me. So I'm looking at some sales there for USD CAD. In terms of some of the CHF pairs, because I was supposed to go through them, we just had a look at dollar CHF. We had a look at New Zealand CHF. Pound CHF, I still do like the shorts for this one, but overall still very much within that range. So it's just very, very boring, to be honest, because I'm not looking to trade within the range. I thought last week we were close to the breakout, so things were looking a lot better, but we're still just trading in that range there. I was waiting for price to clear the low of that range, look for some retest, lower highs, and hopefully a nice short all the way back into that low. That very much was the plan there for pound CHF, because of course you can see it's such a lovely drop in July. To me, it looks like price is having a pullback of that move, forming the next lower high, then expecting the continuation to the downside. So pound CHF very bearish on, no break of the range, so just gonna wait patient until that happens. But yeah, not looking to trade at all inside that range. If I go take a look at Euro CHF, so Euro CHF created new all-time lows last week, just about pinched low there as well. So this is a market which, again, although it's very bearish, I am looking for a big move to the upside. Once the market creates an all-time low, especially in an FX pair, I'm always looking for the retracement of that move. I'm no longer really interested into keep selling the all-time low or keep buying the all-time high. I'm looking for a bigger pullback, but again, it's very difficult to look for that since the market is still pretty bearish, still forming lower highs. So I need some bullish momentum to come in from somewhere from Euro CHF, and then I can start looking for some buys, hopefully at a much later date. This might take a while before it does fully set up, but overall, Euro CHF at all-time lows, making new all-time lows, and doing very tiresomely. As you can see, the wicks there, not really a market which is showing a lot of force. Probably a market which is going to bounce pretty soon as well. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for the Euro CHF. If I take a look at Aussie CHF, not the biggest fan of this one as well. Really big ranging market. I like the highs over there. I like the lows down here. Market's pretty much just in the middle of all of that. So until we get back to one of those key areas, not really interested with Euro NZD. Just had a message there. Thought my phone was off there. Apologies. But yeah, we had price still trading in the middle of that range. So until we come back to 0.586 or back down to 0.56250, I'm just not interested in price here. New Zealand CHF is very similar to Aussie CHF anyway. So if I'm going to be looking to trade this one, I'm not really too interested with Aussie CHF because it's a very similar pair. New Zealand, Aussie, very similar currency pairs, and of course CHF as well. So if I am looking for opportunities here, unless Aussie CHF looks even better, then I'm just going to focus on New Zealand CHF. So that's where my focus lies for now, which is the break of structure, pullbacks, and then some upside. So that's really where I'm at with the CHF pairs. Not looking particularly good, I must say. Yeah, lots of news this week. Let me quickly go through it actually. See what we have this week, and then I will go through Euro NZD as well for you rocking boys. So we'll see what we have with the news, because all I've really looked for really is NFP, of course. Okay, so today we've got PMI for USD at 3 o'clock. That should be interesting. I'm looking to trade pound USD. So I'm kind of hoping for some USD strength low key so I can see some pullbacks for some buys. And then tomorrow we've got okay, not much tomorrow to be honest. Aussie PMI, GDP for Aussie as well. That's early Wednesday morning. That could be interesting. Got a speech from the Bank of England governor. That could be interesting as well. PMI for pound as well. Thursday, we've got jobless claims. Goes trade balance, not much on Thursday. And then Friday, we've got GDP for Euro, unemployment rate for CAD, NFP for USD. That should be interesting as well. But the main event, of course, will be USD, NFP Friday. Okay, I'll quickly go through Euro NZD. So yeah, Euro NZD, I'm looking for a big sell. Back down to the lows there. Basically, it's a ranging market, but I'm looking for another swing to the low end of the range. It's not a market which I'm looking to trade because it's very ranging. It's difficult to get a good trade, but it has created a nice level of support on the 4-hour chart. So a strong break of that could provide a nice retest opportunity. Retest it on numerous occasions, so a pullback to that area could be a nice place for a short. Stop loss above, and the risk reward looks pretty good back to the low. You said a risk reward of 1 to 4. I'm not too sure which way you're going, but I would be short bias on your NZD looking for that move. So a strong break below there looks very, very promising. And dollar CAD, I'm actually looking for some shorts, but it's not quite ready yet. I need price to break structure. and break the lows first. I'm looking for a really big sell, but I need price to basically invalidate this bullish structure. So slowly pushing to the upside with the higher highs and higher lows. I'm waiting for price to break the low first, look for the low high, look for some shorts on the retest of that structure or somewhere else, and then I'll be looking for some shorts. But I'm not convinced with the breakout of that weekly zone, really. So if that is going to be a big fake out, I want to try and catch the shorts after that, because the shorts should be very, very, very promising, because now we faked out, grab liquidity. Now we can see the big move come into life. But I need that low to be taken up first before I can look to short. If not, we could respect the lows and very much continue higher. So need that low to be broken first, look for some lower highs, then look into short dollar CAD to the downside. And there's a pair on my watch list this week. But yeah, guys, we have reached the end of the stream. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like on the stream. And of course, make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you have found it useful, informative, educational, show some love, drop a like. It does really help out. And of course, hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. If you haven't done already, check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. Link to that at the top of the chat and also in the description below. I do share my ideas there. Other traders do as well. So if you're looking to learn, chat with other traders, including myself, you can find us there on that Discord channel, that Discord group. And of course, you can learn a little bit more about Elevating Traders Firm, and you can find some discount codes there for your next purchase on Elevating Traders Firm. But guys, really do appreciate you tuning in. I will be live every day this week as always. Every weekday this week as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So hopefully I will see you guys there. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great Monday, and I'll catch you all in the next one.